Now on CoastTV News.
Hundreds gather in Georgetown for a vigil for Charlie Kirk. And new tonight calls for more money to protect lawmakers. Farm to business when another attempt to rezone the Belmead Horse Farm is back at Sussex County. Turning a page for Delaware library protection, the new law expected to be signed Monday.
And we're going to be bracing for midweek rain arriving. I'll pinpoint the timing of that coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
People fill the Georgetown Circle to remember slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf. Thank you for staying up with us after Sunday Night Football. We begin tonight with hundreds attending a prayer vigil. Hundreds of people attended that 5:30 vigil, which also was by candlelight, organized by Sussex County Republicans. Organizers described the vigil for Kirk as a time of reflection, remembrance, and resolve. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking at a Utah college in one of his signature events. Tonight, Republican leaders who spoke called for unity and continued dialogue for those you disagree with. Kirk was remembered in D.C. tonight as well. Congressional leaders, members of the Trump administration, and grassroots organizers had this memorial service and prayer vigil in Washington, D.C. New tonight, the Trump administration is asking Congress to approve $58 million to bolster security measures for executive and judicial branches of the government. That's according to a leadership aide. This comes amid a surge in threats against public officials. The funding would include additional security for Supreme Court justices and congressional lawmakers. House Democrats will hold a virtual briefing to discuss this member security, according to an invitation obtained by NBC News. And later in the broadcast, hear from experts on the rise of political violence in America and what's next in this story that has captured attention both nationwide and locally. Protests continue in Ocean View over an ordinance that critics say restricts the First Amendment. On Saturday, the group Indivisible Southern Delaware took to Main Street in Ocean View, speaking out against the controversial ordinance that placed time, place, and manner restrictions on protesting in Ocean View. Some regulations include fees up to $150, needing to get a permit 36 hours in advance, and limiting the gatherings between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Indivisible Southern Delaware says they did not get a permit for this weekend's protest. That was intentional, and that they're fighting for everyone's right to protest, not just their own.
They cannot prevent us from protesting because they may not particularly care for our message or anybody's message. So it's not just for my free speech, it's even for the people that don't agree with me. They have every right to come out and peacefully protest as well.
After deferring action this week, Ocean View Town Council is set to introduce a new ordinance repealing the original protest ordinance next month. The Sussex County Council is considering a zoning change request that would turn a horse farm on Route 24 near Beacon Middle School from agricultural residential to a planned commercial district. The Belmead plans for apartments and retail. That's been in the works for months. After some delays with planning and zoning, when they decided they wanted to hear from the Cape Henlopen School District, who has 2 schools less than half a mile away from the farm, here's what folks had to tell us this spring when the project was in front of planning and zoning.
I came here because I felt that it was less congested than New York. You know, coming out of Queens, New York and going into Long Island, that's really a headache of traffic. So it looks like they're heading that way too.
Sussex County Council has a public hearing on Belmead Tuesday at 1:30. People in Rehoboth and beyond came to Shelville to remember Red Ryan Ennis on Sunday. The beloved motivational speaker was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2021 and passed away this June. But his memory lives on. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zappé shows us how people are still working to support his family.
Rachel Richardson is taking time to create a vision board, a way to honor and remember who Ryan Red Ennis was.
Great overall person, no matter what. He was super consistent, resilient, all the things that I strive to be.
Ennis, known to many as Red Ryan, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2021. He fought bravely for nearly 4 years before passing away this June. To celebrate his life, Lisa Berlin, owner of the station on Kings, helped organize a fundraiser in Shellville.
Everybody, as you can see, is coming out to support him today and to raise funds for his family.
Inside, there was music, face painting, food, balloon art for children, and a community coming together to honor Ennis.
He has the 6 principles of life that we have posted here. Ryan just had a lot of very encouraging, motivational sayings that he had.
The event featured raffles, an auction of vacations, and admission donations, all raising money to support his family. Thousands of dollars have already been collected.
Very inspirational and encouraging, and made you just want to be the best version of yourself without saying a word.
If you would like to donate but couldn't attend today's event, there's currently a GoFundMe page for Red's family. I'm Kevin Zapay in Rehoboth Beach, CoastTV News.
You might not know this, but August 23rd has officially been recognized as Delaware's Random Acts of Kindness Day. That was Ryan's birthday, and it was one of his wishes to do, in his own words, something memorable enough to memorialize or celebrate that day on his birthday. We interviewed Ryan before he passed. Here was his mindset in his own words.
That's what I've learned from my diagnosis, like make moments matter. Pause, reflect, like just be in that moment with people, be kind.
We have much more on Ennis's legacy and how you can support right now on CoastTV.com. A new bill in Delaware is aiming to protect access for books in schools and public libraries. It's called the Freedom to Read Act, House Bill 119. The law says books can't be banned because of who wrote them, their background, or their viewpoints, and it makes clear books cannot be pulled from shelves due to political, ideological, or religious objections. Under the bill, both public and school libraries must create clear policies for how book challenges are handled. Any book under review must stay available until that process is finished. Delaware's Governor Matt Meyer expected to sign the bill on Monday. And that's not the only bill the governor is signing Monday. His office says Senate Bill 80 protects people from strategic lawsuits against public participation that leverage courts to silence criticism. The governor says this legislation will strengthen Delaware's current anti-SLAPP law and ensure First Amendment rights. Take a look at 113 and Centerview Drive in Millsboro. That's near a very big shopping center for reference. And it's where police say a motorcyclist was killed. According to troopers, it was 7 p.m. Saturday when a motorcycle didn't stop at a red light and was speeding when it struck a turning car. The biker from York, Pennsylvania was thrown and killed. To Lewis, after years of fundraising efforts, a settlement on the 4th Street Forest is happening Monday. The Greater Lewis Foundation raised the money and will transfer the property to the city, who will keep the parcel open space in downtown Lewis. Heads up, Rehoboth drivers, Munson and Christian streets will be worked on starting Monday. The city says it will replace water mains and pave the streets through Wednesday. More beach nourishment is coming to the Indian River Inlet. According to Delaware Seashore State Park, equipment will be placed starting Monday. That's to move 500,000 cubic yards of sand from the ebb shoal onto the beach. Parking and parts of the beach will close 1,000 feet at a time, starting at the North Jetty and going north. Monday's work comes after local, state, and federal leaders gathered about 2 weeks ago at the inlet to discuss the future of Delaware's coastlines. They highlighted work and the last year's work, and upcoming projects included the one we just mentioned. $80 million in federal funding has been secured to support these efforts, which leaders say is critical.
We have projects to restore the beach and make sure it is protected and available not only for recreation but for protection. But then you have the jetty work that the Corps is doing to actually make the inlet functional and keep it in good shape for navigation going in and out.
Jetty restoration is planned for next year. Here's footage of when the dunes on the north side of the inlet breached in 2024. Now, good news though, the dunes did withstand the recent hurricane, but this new work is expected to bolster the beach even more. New tonight, the U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to lower interest rates later this week. This would mark the first decline from the central bank since December. And for some, as John Lawrence reports, including President Donald Trump, The drop can't come soon enough.
The last time we kind of saw this was in the 1970s, and that playbook doesn't fit today because we are in a global supply chain.
The U.S. is getting hit with an economic double whammy. While the cost of living keeps climbing, finding a job is more difficult.
When you still have the high inflation, which is still pretty sticky, and then you add the low growth, that's where we start to worry a little bit.
Consumer sentiment has dropped nearly 5% this month and is down 21% compared to September of 2024, according to preliminary results from a University of Michigan survey published Friday.
The economy really concerns me, affordability for people back home, and that's why the Working Families Tax Cut Act was so important, because I believe it will drive down costs.
Economic analysts say rising inflation and the Trump administration's tariffs are two of the main concerns for American households.
Half of older workers have nothing in the bank as they face retirement. You got a quarter of our seniors trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest data says consumer prices inched upward 0.4 of a point last month, pushing the annual inflation rate to 2.9%.
Consumers are they don't. The real issue isn't if they're 3% or 10% inflation. Consumers are running away from that perception until it changes behavior.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Trump has repeatedly called on the Federal Reserve to cut rates. On Friday, the chief U.S. economist at Deutsche Bank said he expects 3/4 point cuts from the Fed in September, October, and December. Monday morning on CoastTV News, a look at more legislation Governor Matt Meyer is signing. And then coming up Monday evening, a new school year underway. We'll show you how Delaware is working to tackle a teacher shortage on CoastTV News.
And wet weather is on the way this work week. More on that coming up.
After that, e-bike dangers, why the high-powered wheels so popular on the coast are attracting nationwide scrutiny. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just 60 seconds.
Well, we're going to have a combination of concerns, particularly Tuesday going into Wednesday. Big time wind and some bothersome rain, a combination of the two. We're going to get close to that edge of severe storms, but maybe not quite make it. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a moment. So outside, things are very calm for right now. We've had an absolutely gorgeous weekend, and we will continue to enjoy that good weather. We'll just slide right on into Monday without a problem. Tuesday is where we get a little bump in the road. But right now, hey, we're in the 60s right now, 63 in Millsboro, as well as Dagsboro, Gumboro, and Delmar, as well as Laurel. So we're on the cool side. Now, we ultimately warmed up to 82 degrees, not only in Georgetown, but also in Salisbury, as well as Cambridge. Now, when you kind of put it closer or compared to where we should be, it's only a couple of degrees above the norm, so we weren't tremendously warmer than usual, but it did feel a little toasty occasionally, particularly if you're in direct sunlight for an extended period of time. Here's where we stand right now as far as our live radar is concerned. We do have some gusty winds along the coast, and then to our south, we actually have a gale wind warning down towards Anagoc and down towards Cape Charles. If you're headed down towards the Virginia Beach area, we're talking about 45-mile-per-hour winds here specifically. Not in our immediate area. We're looking at 25-mile-per-hour winds, but that's a 20-mile-per-hour difference betwixt the two. For Monday, we anticipate a high of 77 degrees in Georgetown, 79 for the high in Seaford, as well as Laurel. We slide over towards Cambridge. We're basically under the same impression and the same expectation of 79 degrees universally there. And we're looking for a high of 76 in Berlin, Snow Hill, as well as Ocean City and Chincoteague. The winds are going to be a problem Tuesday afternoon. Make that real clear for the folks not listening in the back. We're looking at 41, possibly even 45-mile-per-hour winds coming out of the northeast, particularly for the beaches. Now, we'll have some breezy conditions inland, but for the beaches, we're looking for some serious concerns. And we're going to have a yellow alert day for Tuesday as a result of that, with a combination of possibility of rain. So we start off cloudy. On Monday, Tuesday, we see scattered showers begin to push through. And this is our more conservative model. It's not really showing the girth of what I'm concerned with, because there's a low pressure system that's going to sit down right on top of us with isolated thunderstorms possible. I'm not looking for severe weather thus far, but it'll be good for breaking the pattern of dry weather we've had. See, you take a look at these chances of rain, and they escalate Tuesday night going into Wednesday. See, there's the highest too. And so that's the time frame that we're looking for. Now, this model kind of depicts that reflection of information. The counterclockwise rotation you see here, and as it begins to lift its way towards the north, you see it's slow moving, and we have that low that's just kind of rocking or oscillating back and forth, and it's not getting out of the way quick. So it's going to probably be a 2.5 day storm. So we're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday in Assateague, for example. A little sunshine on Tuesday because we'll start off sunny, we'll end up cloudy. Same holds true for us in Fillmore Island and Ocean City, and same holds true for us as Lewis as well as Rehoboth. So here's the bottom line. We're going to see things clearing out for tonight, but 76 for tomorrow, and then on Tuesday, 70 degrees. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast, a yellow alert day or night for Tuesday.
You might not hear that sound much more, as Monday is the last day for paid parking in most coastal towns. Rehoboth, Dewey, Bethany, Fenwick, those meters, the last day for them is Monday. But parking at the beach in Lewis will cost you through September 30th. And even later in downtown Lewis, they're on till October 14th. At the Ocean City Inlet, the meter must be fed through Halloween. The rising popularity of e-bikes and scooters has a group of U.S. doctors urging caution. The American College of Surgeons says it is seeing a surge of injuries across the country, particularly among children and teens. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the growing concern and how to stay safe.
It's a popular way to get around. Electric scooters and bikes can get you where you're going fast. The doctors warn the rising number of them on the road is causing another kind of surge.
When we get our trauma alerts, a lot of times I'm thinking, okay, is it another e-bike or e-scooter injury? Because they become more and more common.
Pediatric trauma surgeon Dr. Mark Levy with Orlando Health says his hospital alone has seen a 250% increase in emergency room visits from e-bike and e-scooter accidents. But the American College of Surgeons says it's a problem nationwide, with more than 20,000 people hurt while riding electric bikes every year. About 3,000 of those require hospitalization.
E-scooters and e-bikes can attain speeds as high as 20 to 30 miles per hour. Some e-bikes can go as fast as 50 miles per hour.
Levy says head injuries are the most common, and there have also been deaths. He says many times riders he sees in the ER either didn't have a helmet or weren't wearing the right one. As speeds increase, Levy says a stronger helmet with a higher rating is needed for protection.
This helmet is rated a level 3 helmet, which would be up to 28 miles per hour. And you can see it has a kind of a full shell around it that protects the head. It's also harder than the other one and is better for these higher rates of speed.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here in Ocean City, town leaders are seeing more e-scooters and e-bikes at Northside Park. Some say they're causing safety issues. Right now, the park does have a rule against e-scooters and bikes, but since it isn't written into law, there's no way to issue fines. And the town wants to change that. The Recreation and Parks Committee is working with the town on the ordinance to restrict e-bikes and scooters at Northside Park, which could lead to those fines. And one park goer we spoke with says they're all for it.
They go too fast, and there's just too many people that are walking through the park, too many little children walking through the park, pets, etc. And I just don't think the reaction time is such with people on e-bikes.
Once this new ordinance is drafted, it will then go to council, but no timeline on that just yet. Still to come on Coast TV News, after the killing of Charlie Kirk, local and national leadership respond, and a deeper look at the rise in political violence next. The shocking assassination of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk comes after a series of incidents involving political figures. Recently, a Democratic lawmaker and her husband were killed in Minnesota, and there were 2 assassination attempts against President Trump. NBC's Melanie Zanona shows us how the rise in political rhetoric and violence has Americans on edge, and lawmakers on Capitol Hill concerned for their safety.
The brash daylight attack that claimed Charlie Kirk's life not only shocked the country, but also shook political leaders.
It is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us.
Investigators say the suspect in Kirk's shooting, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, had become more vocal about his political views in recent years, including about Kirk, an ardent supporter of President Trump and conservative influencer. Not long after Kirk was killed, the president assigned responsibility.
We have a radical left group of lunatics out there, just absolute lunatics.
But also saying to Kirk's supporters,
he was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond.
Angry rhetoric and violence is on the rise. Kirk's assassination is just the latest in a growing list of violence aimed at political figures, starting with 2 assassination attempts on President Trump's life. The suspect killed by Secret Service. Most recently, a gunman killing a Minnesota Democratic lawmaker and her husband, and the firebombing of Pennsylvania's Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro's home when his family was asleep. No one was injured. Now, as Americans are on edge, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling for calm, including the House Speaker Emerita, whose husband was attacked.
We just have to change the rhetorical nature of our debates.
And in a political situation, to blame an opponent or an adversary, I think there's enough responsibility for everybody to bear some of it.
Today's arrest brings some sense of security to lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
This morning, the apprehension of the suspect will ease a lot of nerves in Congress.
And perhaps a path to nonviolent discourse.
We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree.
Melanie Znona, NBC News, Washington.
U.S. Capitol Police say they've seen the number of threat assessments go up this year. They're on track to reach 14,000 by the end of December, which would be more than in the last 8 years. Locally, Petty John Road will be closed between Gravel Hill Road and Prettyman Road. On your screen is a map of the area. DelDOT says that starts Monday at 7 a.m. It's all for a horizontal jack and bore for an off-site water main. After the break here on Coast TV News, the last land use meeting, what was decided next? We've covered this for a while now. The Sussex County Land Use Reform Group, well, they just came up with 20 total recommendations for County Council to look at to help with growth and development. Let's talk you through some of those recommendations. 1, working with DelDOT to make sure there's enough road infrastructure before new developments are built. Charging developers an impact fee in certain conservation areas, as they're called. Forest preservation, and also a master plan zoning ordinances that's completed and adopted for large-scale development.
I'm satisfied that they've gone about as far as they can, and that what we now see is that it has to be turned over to County Council and opened up to the wider public for a discussion.
According to Sussex County Administrator Todd Lawson, the council is anxious to get to work on this project right away, but that can't happen until the full report is packaged, finished, and handed over. We do have that full list online right now on CoastTV.com. After the break here on Coast TV News, as we take a live look outside, we have a final check on your forecast. Coast TV News continues in just a few moments.
Well, the gorgeous weather that we've enjoyed over the weekend is going to spill right on into Monday. And Monday's not a problem, and I'm going to go over Monday in great detail in a moment here, but it's Tuesday that we're going to have to watch out for. Just keep that in the back of your mind as you're enjoying a bright, beautiful Monday. We're currently right now, all is quiet on the home front, and our expectations, listen, we're going to have increasing cloud cover for Monday as well. Starting at about 8 o'clock, we'll still see a peak of some sunshine and 66 degrees. Then we'll transition into the 70s pretty quickly. But look at these winds. Pay attention to these winds. They're going to get increasingly more vibrant or aggressive, whichever we want to put it, as we go throughout the day. Now, we will move into the mid-70s for the day and probably hover there for the high. And so it's going to be a little bit cooler than today, especially when you factor in the winds. It's going to just feel that much cooler in general. But let's take a look at our expectations along the coast. First of all, the winds are going to be pushing primarily out of the northeast between 14 to 19 miles per hour, generally speaking. We're expecting a high of 77 degrees in Chincoteague, Dewey Beach, as well as Lewis, with sunshine in the morning time, increasing cloudiness as we go into the evening hours. 75 for the expected high in Rehoboth Beach, Bethany Beach, as well as Ocean City. So that's our expectation for Monday. By the way, you can keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. The number to call is 880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, and it's sponsored by the law offices of Bruxted, Mandalis, and Federico. Okay, so let's talk about this 10-day forecast real quick. Now, it's been a while since we've had one of these, and some of you folks that are tuning in for us for the first time after the game, I want to get you up to speed on what you're looking at. Now, first of all, Monday's not a problem. We already covered that. But Tuesday is what we call a yellow alert day, and because I'm putting PM here, we're talking about in the evening hours. We're watching out for thunderstorms from Monday leaning into, from Tuesday leaning into Wednesday, and then possibly leaning into early Thursday morning. It's this cluster of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, where we're expecting a low pressure system right off our coast to cause some not so great feeling conditions.
Paul, thank you. Well, we end our newscast with a little bit of sweetness. Sunday, we celebrate donuts, cream of the crop, because September 14th is National Cream-Filled Donut Day. The most famous one is Boston Cream. Of course, that's a delicious pastry filled with vanilla custard and chocolate glaze. But in case you didn't know, there's an entire assortment of cream-filled donuts you can enjoy Sunday. Maybe maple cream could be your donut of choice. Orange cream, caramel cream, marshmallow cream, cream-filled pastries have been around since the 1800s. Well, thank you so much for joining us here for Coast TV News and staying with us after Sunday Night Football. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. We'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News Today. Starts at 5. Have a great night.